All right, so today we're going to tackle a question that's got folks all riled up online,
Yeah.
and it's a big one. Does nature, care about what we believe?
Hmm.
What if you're caught in a typhoon? Are your prayers going to make a difference, or is nature just going to do its thing regardless?
I mean, that's a pretty heavy question right there.
It is, and that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Buckle up.
We're calling this deep dive Nature Beliefs and the Instinct to Pray.
Ooh, catchy.
And we've got some pretty fiery viewpoints to unpack.
Fire away.
So this whole thing started with a user named Matemuck on, the site.
Mm-hmm.
They basically said, look, nature doesn't give a hoot about what you believe.
Straight to the point.
Yeah, and they used this example of a typhoon hitting the China Sea.
All right. Okay.
Their point was the typhoon doesn't discriminate. It's going to wreak havoc whether you're praying or not.
So basically, they're coming from a perspective where the universe is like a giant machine. Everything runs on these fixed laws of physics. There's no room for a higher power to, step in and change things because of your beliefs.
Makes sense, I guess. But then we've got it light of reflection jumping into the ring with a counter-argument.
No, this is where it gets good.
Right. They come in saying, hold up, I'm not interested in beliefs either.
Okay. Interesting.
I care about logical facts embedded in nature.
Logical facts embedded in nature.
Yeah, pretty deep, right? And then they hit us with this analogy.
Shit, man.
They said, just because a blind man doesn't acknowledge the sun
Right.
doesn't mean the sun isn't there.
Hmm.
It's like they're saying atheists are kind of blind to a bigger truth.
Whoa, that's a pretty bold statement.
It is, right?
Right.
So how do they tie this back to the whole typhoon thing?
Well, they use that Muck's own argument against them.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, they basically say, imagine you're on a ship in the middle of that typhoon, right? Waves crashing all around, you might just start praying.
Even if you're a diehard atheist.
Exactly. It's like that saying there are no atheists in foxholes.
So at Light of Reflection saying this instinct to pray, even when we claim not to believe it, points to something deeper.
Like a built-in recognition of a higher power that we can't ignore even if we try.
And they bring in some verses from the Quran to
Yeah.
support this 29.65 and 27.62. What do those verses say?
Essentially, they say that when people are in deep trouble, like really facing death, they instinctively cry out to a higher power for help.
Interesting. So it's not just about a specific religion. It's like a human thing.
Exactly. At Light of Reflection is arguing that this isn't just a Muslim thing or a Christian thing. It's a universal human experience that points to this innate awareness of the divine.
It's like we're wired for it in a way.
Maybe. And to drive this point home, they share a story about this guy named Howard Storm.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him.
So he was an art professor, a staunch atheist, no belief in God whatsoever.
Hmm.
But then in 1985, he's in Paris. He has this perforated stomach.
Ouch.
Yeah, he's in excruciating pain, like near-death kind of pain. And guess what happens?
He starts...
He finds himself crying out to God for help despite his atheism. This experience totally changed his life. He became a Christian minister later on.
Wow, talk about a plot twist.
Yeah.
So does this story, blow it Muck's argument out of the water?
Well, it definitely complicates things. It makes you think about whether this instinct to pray is just our brains freaking out in a crisis or if it's a sign of something more,
A connection to something beyond ourselves.
Right, a glimpse behind the curtain of the material world.
So where do we land on this whole debate?
Well, on one hand, we've got this idea that nature operates on autopilot, right? Our beliefs don't change the laws of physics.
Uh-huh.
But on the other hand, we've got this powerful instinct that seems to be ingrained in us, this urge to reach out to something bigger than ourselves when we're facing the unknown.
It's almost like we're hardwired to hope.
Yeah, and where you fall on the spectrum ultimately comes down to your own personal beliefs and experiences.
It's a personal journey for sure. It's funny. I was thinking while we were talking, I've caught myself saying little prayers during bumpy flights.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah. And I wouldn't even call myself religious. It's like this primal instinct kicks in when I feel like things are out of my control.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Even those of us who don't consciously follow a religion, we still seem to reach for something beyond ourselves in those moments of vulnerability.
Maybe there's a reason for that.
Perhaps it's a hint that there's more to the universe than meets the eye, that our connection to something bigger than ourselves runs deeper than we realize.
I like that. So to wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with a question to ponder.
All right, shoot.
What do you reach for when you're feeling vulnerable?
Good way.
Does your experience tell you that the world is just a bunch of atoms and energy, or do you feel like there might be something more out there?
The answer to that question might just be the key to unlocking a deeper understanding of your place in the universe.
And who knows, maybe it'll lead you to your own personal deep dive into the mysteries of existence.
Happy exploring.
Until next time, folks.